Welcome back to the channel. It's Saturday, let's say the 22nd of February, and there's this thing out here, like if you look on the ground, I don't know what that is. Oh, it's my shadow. It's this new thing called the sun. It's out. It's warm. There's Mrs. Ohio MM. She wouldn't expect me to flip the camera around. She's gonna make fun of me. Anyway, I hate seeing the A4T set out through this whole winter, but it is what it is with the clutch slipping. I had it set to go inside, and yeah, it's been a great reference there, running back and forth while I'm working on the other one to reference how things are run and different things. Although they're slightly different, still a lot the same. So I'm going to head inside in a minute. I need to go get a battery out of the garage. But yeah, beautiful day today, and it's warmer. I mean, it's warm enough that I would just walked out here and kicked the snow off my boots, and it's melting on the concrete. So we'll take it. We'll take it. It's supposed to be above freezing most of the week this week. So means everything's going to get muddy. So I got to haul horse manure later. But anyway, I'll be back in a minute. All right. So the reason I had to go get a battery is this is the yoke that was on the throttle cable, and it's kind of bent a little bit, and there's not a lot of material around there. Here's a new one that I got. It's got a little bit more material, but anyway, this is the clevis that was through the goes through the throttle, which is too big to fit in there, so I'm gonna have to drill that out so that clevis will go through. So I went to get a battery so I could drill that out. So that's what I did there. And then this week, I don't know why, but my heater just kicked off. But we'll walk over here and restart it. Sometimes it does this. Fire up, baby. Just need a little heat today. There we go. I don't know why. So anyway, this week, well, today I also picked up some 3/16 hose because we're going to do some hose work today. I got a pipe to go from the exhaust manifold to the muffler. This is a Stanley muffler, and see how it's kind of flared to here. I have an original muffler, doesn't have that flare in it, but I'll get that taken care of. But I was just trying to get this worked out because when this was in 1355 or whatever, they used the muffler off of it's a different muffler. The muffler going all the way down to the exhaust manifold has an extra pipe on it, or tube on it, that hooks up to the air, whatever. So all that being said, I'm just getting the exhaust reworked. Here's where that yoke goes. It goes to here. So that's where I need to drill it out because that clevis goes in that hole there. The hose we're going to make today, we're going to do the injector hoses. So you can see the hose right there is not in the best of shape. So I'll take that off. I'm going to run a new hose there, and then between each injector I will have put a new hose on, and then the return line going back. That's why I got a whole roll, because I got to run a line all the way to the back. It comes off that end and then goes back under the cab to the fuel tank, and so I got to have that on there. And that might be about all I get done today. There's a couple other little things we might work on, but Oliver Phil's working on my hoses, my hydraulic hoses. He said he's got a lot of those done. He's waiting on some fittings. Then he's going to come over and we will work out this, but I definitely think this is an easily solved issue of that it goes right over I put a rag in there to protect the oil dipstick hole, but we'll get that worked out, and then he'll look at this pump and we'll determine what pump we're going to use on this. And yeah, so that's kind of where it's at. I did talk to Cheryl this week about the winter show that's coming up in Auburn, Indiana. They're having an auction Saturday morning, and they'll be there. There's a banquet Friday night, so if you're going, you might want to get your tickets. And a couple other things. Found out that the Miami Valley Steam Threshers may be hosting Minneapolis Moline again in 2026. It's not set in stone yet. I got to go to, they're having a breakfast here in a couple weeks. I'm going to go talk to them about that. Not that I've got a whole lot to do with it, but I'm an advocate, obviously, for Minneapolis Moline, so it'd be great because that's kind of the home show. That's the show Grandpa always went to. Go there, host Moline again, and maybe we'll do like a Moline Oliver, under the, since they were all under white there for quite a while. We'll see, but we want to have a good turnout, so let's try to make the best show we can. And so I think there's some planning to be done, but we have a little bit of time. That's why I talked to Cheryl. We're trying to see about maybe if Prairie Gold Rush wants to make that their summer show for 2026, but we haven't worked that out yet. So maybe more to come on that. Anyway, I'm going to get to work. Probably first thing I'm going to do is drill out that clevis. All right, got it here in the vise, and we'll just see if we can bore this out a little bit. We'll chest the pin, not enough, so we'll have to swap out bits here. All right, we'll go up a little bit. Not enough. And I just dropped my clevis pin. It's got to be getting close. Of course, I'm missing the bit that I need that's the next size up because I don't have a good set of metal bits. So we'll waller it out a little and see if that can do it. Getting closer. Yep, almost there. Should probably go from the other side. This is technically not the way you're supposed to do this. Probably the best way to do this is to have a good set of bits. One of these days, I will. We are close. Very, very, very close. All right. We'll flip it around and do the other side one more time, and I should be there. Look at that. Got a little bit of play, so that should work well for the throttle. All right, so back over here, screw this back on. I'm gonna back off the lock nut a little bit. So, oh, that was the other thing I didn't show you. This week, I modified this bracket. So this bracket was back on that bolt there. I moved it up, I did some bending, and I U'd out this so that the cable, and it fits pretty well. If I can get, my fingers are pretty cold. It hasn't warmed up in here at all yet. But, look at that. Right how it should be, and then this goes on there, and now I see why that other one was bent out a little bit. This is wider than, so that's why they did that on the other one. Dang it, it's almost like they welded a extra piece on there. Am I too close? So I'm gonna have to kind of force that apart a little bit in order to get it to fit on there. And well, you know what, that cable and this piece was never on this pump, so yeah, it couldn't have been on here before. All right, let me figure this out real quick. All right, I wind it out just a little with the chisel. Can you guys see much there? I feel like I got you behind a pipe. It's kind of hard to get you set up here to see what I'm doing. Hopefully I don't knock that off there. All right, so we'll screw this back on. And then we'll, so that's about right there. I think clevis pin should just shove in there. Do a couple more turns. There we go. And then I can do a little adjusting back here, and I can do more adjustment back here, but at least that's on. And then I've got an old, stick this through there so that I don't lose the clevis pin until the next time we need to do adjustments, which will be about the time that we go to start this. All right, so that kind of solves that issue that I've got all that hooked up now. And the other thing I don't want to permanently do, because I think the cable in the back there, when I put that plate down there on, I think that might go through a hole in that plate, so I don't want to get it too permanent, but I wanted to get it pretty close so that at least that part's done. So I'm all right with that. I'm kind of happy with how that bracket, how I was able to bend it and get it to work the way I wanted, and I kind of bent it in a way to give me some play on both ends. It's not exactly in the middle, but it's in a place where I can definitely get some adjustment in there. All right, so the next thing I need to do in order to take this line off, I got to take these two, I would call them line holders, I would guess. I don't know. I got to get those off. And this one's got a cable on it for going up to the heating element up there. And I don't want to drop that nut. Got it out, didn't drop it. So then I'm loose. So when I get this line loose here, take it off. I can feed my new line through that, reconnect it down here, and that goes up to cylinder number 1, and I'll pry that off of there. It's always fun working off the ladder. These lines are old and hard. I should probably just get a razor knife, and that way I don't risk breaking anything here. So that might be a good idea, huh? Before I go any further. Do the smart thing, not the thing that makes me go, why didn't I just do what I said I was going to do? There. Pop that off there, and then we'll get a wrench. Actually, I've got a crescent right here. That will do the same job. And she's off of there. And now I'm going to cut a new line. So give me a minute, and I gotta set you down because I can't do all this with one hand. All right, got this line made. This was a little bit of a pain. I luckily had a new compression piece that goes inside there. Got that on, got it up here. So I just want to make sure it's long enough. Oh, there's like so little room to work, and this hose is a lot more flexible than the old hose. So I don't know if these are going to work or not to do this. I think I might need regular pliers. But I think it's going to be long enough. If I can wiggle it on there. What a pain. Okay, so I'm going to get a pair of pliers to shove that the rest of the way on there. Then we'll tighten up these bolts, and then we'll keep working our way down the line. That's all it took was a set of pliers, and I got it on there. So good. We're good. We're good. I'm like looking straight at my low impact here. I'm like, where's it at? Right in front of my face. All right, so first line done. That solved that problem. Now I'll cut both sides of this. I'll go down, do one by one until I get to the end there. And I'm not going to bore you with me taking all these off, but I think you see what I'm doing here, and I'll bring you back and show you what it looks like when I'm done. It should look quite a bit better. These lines are definitely old and hard. All right, as promised, we're back, and I've got all the new lines on. The last one is the old line, but that's just on there because when we started, I think we'll just use a little nurse tank right up here. Return to the nurse tank. Make sure everything's good before I put the fuel tank back on in the back, just so we can see if there's any leaks. But yeah, so that's good. If I get down without falling, the old stuff was hard as a rock. I mean, this stuff does not want to bend. These needed done. Imperial Eastman. I don't know how old that is. It might be as old as the motor is, but there's my old pieces. So I'm glad to get that done. Again, just tiny little projects. I was going to show you too. So I was talking about this exhaust, how it's kind of flared up to here. Over here I have an original muffler I was lucky enough to pick up. It is smooth. There is no raised area, so I'm gonna have to have this one flared, bumped out just a little bit in order to fit that pipe. If I choose to use this one, I might just use the Stanley that's on it. I haven't decided yet. So anyway, I'm gonna pick up my old hoses and clean up here just a little bit, and then see what else we can get into today. All right, so one of the things I did is I knocked this back out of the muffler, burned off the decal that was down here, cut it down. I wanted to cut it down 2 inches, which would be the same height as the one on the other A4T. And one of the things I need to do is there's a little bit of surface rust on this muffler. I should probably throw that in the sandblaster today and get it blasted, and then hopefully with some warmer weather here I can do the old high temp primer and high temp paint on both of these, and I'll get a rain cap for it, and then that will be done. And I'm trying to think what else I should probably try to get done today. I don't think my oil pressure gauge arrived, although a delivery came, but I'm going to think that was Amazon, something probably for Mrs. Ohio MM. And I do want to review, there's a hose that goes from the pump up and it feeds the steering up there. That hose was not on this. I want to make sure that I gave that to Phil to make. So I need to look at that. I was going to kind of look at the wiring a little bit today, but I don't know that I'm going to get to that. I've got to go to Denver this week. So speaking of Denver, my viewer Denver, you can tell your dad, Mr. Jay-Z, that I used the claw hammer earlier. So he can be proud of me. I'm still using the claw hammer every once in a while. The other thing I noticed this week, if you see sitting on the rail there, is the top of the, yeah, I've got ADD, I just switched gears real fast there. For the tack gauge, the tack cable, and it looked like it hadn't been on there for a long time. I got up, it's got a replacement gauge in it, and it looks like an electronic gauge, or electric gauge, not electronic, electric gauge. So I don't know why, and I'm just going to guess that maybe there's a problem in there, and they didn't want to dig into that and replace it, so they just put electric gauge in it. I'll have to look at that a little more closely and see what makes more sense. But yeah, if I get up there and look at any of the wiring, the problem is it's a mess, and I need to kind of get a plan together on how I'm going to do everything here. So and I'm not the best at wiring. I mean, I don't know if I've said that before, but what I'd really love is if one of my friends that was really good at wiring would come over and help me and make this a lot faster. Oliver, Phil, I know you're listening, but I can probably figure it out. It can't be that difficult. Even a caveman could do it, right? All right, that's I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do next, because I don't know. I know I gotta haul horse manure here while the ground's still frozen before it starts thawing out, and then, like I said, I'm going to be in Denver this week when it thaws out, so I won't be able to do much around here. All right, I was just on the phone with Oliver. On the phone with Oliver Phil, going over the rest of the hoses, make sure we got everything kind of covered right now. We can do everything except this hose right here, because we will need to figure out how we're going to run that. I'm hoping we're going to do this hose that goes from the oil pump to there. I'm hoping that doesn't going to interfere with the metal line that comes out of the back here, but we can tweak that around, or hopefully make that work. And other than that, I kind of went over some of the electric stuff with him, and we talked about it. I think what they did here is they ran this up from the alternator. So when the alternator shuts off, that's what shuts off your fuel. This blue one then goes up and runs the electric tack. We're guessing that's how they had that. So we'll work our way through the wiring on this. But anyway, I crawled up in the cabin, kind of looked around, but I'm gonna have to do some different things. They added that amp gauge right there on the bottom. I don't know if I'm going to keep that there or I'm going to do something different. Definitely, if I keep it there, I'm going to make the bracket they made for it look a lot better than that one does. But I don't know if I'll keep that or not. So I think that's going to be about it for this video. It's probably going to be a little shorter than they've been, but like I said, I got to haul manure, pack bags, and get rolling. Next weekend hopefully we'll have hoses, and we'll be rolling on getting hoses on this thing. And then in winter shows in a couple weeks, excuse me, geez, I'm burping or hiccuping. Winter shows in a couple weeks, I'll get the some parts I need from Brett Bingham to get this thing even further, and then hopefully we'll be getting real close to being able to start this thing in not too long. And then I'm going to be bringing the G950 over, and Joe Pro and I are going to open up the side plate where the 3-speed is and put the low in the 3-speed. That'll be a good video to do. And maybe while it's over here, depending on where I'm at with this thing, I'll do maybe fix some of those hydraulic leaks if I can. So anyway, I appreciate everybody watching. Please like and subscribe. Sorry this one's not like a super exciting video. We're getting there though. I mean, this thing is going to it's going to be running hopefully before too long. And yeah, we'll see you at the next video.